Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm Jeanette with Vivo Vintage Designs. Before we get started, I'll remind you that all the products used will be listed in the description box along with links. And please don't forget to like, comment, and consider subscribing. Your interaction and support for my channel is greatly appreciated. So lately I've been playing a lot with my watercolors, practicing how to paint water. And whenever I do something with watercolor, I want to try to reproduce that using alcohol ink. So I wanted to practice water with the alcohol ink. So I brought out a tile, figuring that if I didn't like it, I could just wipe it off and start all over again. And I made a few mistakes, but what the good thing is that hopefully you will learn from my mistakes. So I selected a few blues that I thought would look like water, and I started putting them down on my tile. So I thought I was off to a good start. Now, I never use blending solution, but for some reason I thought I would use it today. It was on the table. So I'm taking my finger and I'm running it through the alcohol the ink, because I didn't want the ink to blend too much. I wanted to show the different colors because I thought it would look like waves in the water. But that didn't work out so well. And then you can see that I started to lose my texture, and when I used the blow dryer, I completely lost the texture in the water. So I proceeded to add more ink, which caused a problem later on. And you'll see that shortly. So I added more ink and ran my finger through it, making little waves in the ink. Then I thought I would let it dry on its own, but I'm very impatient. So I figured maybe if I keep running my finger through it as it dries, that texture will stay, but that wasn't happening. So I decided to use my airbrush, and that gave me exactly what I was looking for. It looks like little waves in the water. And the PSI on my compressor was set at 40. And I just ran it back and forth, and I got exactly what I was hoping for. So now, I thought that if I used a sponge, these inexpensive sponges that I bought at the dollar store, if I used the sponge to stamp the colors of the sand onto the tile, that I would get a kind of smooth texture. But what ended up happening instead was that the colors were blending together and it looked way too smooth, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted. But if you're familiar with me and my art, you know that I don't give up easily. So I did keep trying to get the texture that I wanted, but this little sponge just wasn't doing the job. And notice that I left a white space in between the color of the water and the sand, because that's the area where I will create my foam. So here I'm trying to use a smaller piece of sponge, because I thought that maybe this would give me the texture that I wanted, but that didn't work either. You can see all I was doing was making a mess. I was getting dots instead. So I brought out my Ranger stamper, the one that has the felt pad, and I added all the colors that I wanted, or that I thought would look like sand, onto the stamper. And I blotted it on the paper towel before I put it to the tile. And this gave me the texture that I was looking for. Now, if you want smooth sand, use a sponge. It worked really well. But the stamper gave me more of the effect that I wanted. So now I thought that if I used Blanco Blanco on the end of a cotton swab, that it would soften the ink and blend nicely with the sand and the watercolor, and I would get this really beautiful foamy effect. Well, that didn't work. And it could be because I had so much ink on my tile at this point. So now I brought out the little cup that I use snow cap on to create the centers for my flowers, and I sprayed some alcohol into the snow cap, and I thought maybe this will work. But that didn't seem to work very well either. And again, it could be because I had too much ink on the tile at this point. But I didn't give up. I kept trying. But I just wasn't getting the lift of the blue ink that I needed to make it white enough to look like foam. God knows I tried. So at this point, I just give up on using the white. And I began to spray alcohol on the tip of the cotton swab and try to lift some of the color instead of adding more color. And here I'm rolling the side of the cotton swab on the ink and trying to lift it, and that worked much better. Just using the alcohol to dot and lift the color off the tile worked much better than trying to add white. And again, it could be just because I had so much ink on the tile at this point. I'm not sure. I'll probably try this again. And then I used a little micro brush to create smaller dots, or to try and lift smaller dots of ink off the tile. Which really didn't make much of a difference. Using the cotton swab worked just fine. So now, after I finished this, it looked a little plain to me. I thought I might add a little shell or something, but unfortunately I didn't film this part of it, but I do show you in the end. I drew a little crab on the sand using alcohol ink markers. It was very easy to do. So I hope you enjoy this video and that you give this a try. If you do, drop your picture in the comment section on my Facebook page, Vivo Vintage Designs, and share your painting with me. I would love to see how you do. So there's my little crab. Excuse me. I used red and pink and a little Micron pen to create some shadow. He came out really cute, and I think it looked much better with the little crab. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.